All right, welcome back, everyone. Here to work on the Gilamon. I had shot some video before on this, but it was one of my first videos I did, and I was not doing well. I just ended up scrapping a lot of it. I had put in overdrive in the rear to try to make it more traily, so it didn't have as much overdrive for the front. I think stock's like 30%, so I put in like 27% overdrive gears in the rear, which doesn't fully make up for the front, but at least it was closer, because if I trailed a little bit with it, it was really dragging. And it's a big truck, and I kind of liked trailing with it up to a place. I also moved the ASD from the rear axle to the transmission for dig. So hopefully I can remember it and start using it and trying it out more. I also put in brass portal covers. It's like an actual cover that goes on the stock cover. Doesn't replace it. And those have been pretty good. When I bought this, it already had a Fusion 8 in it. It's been awesome. The guy had a 18 tooth pinion in it, ridiculously fast. I put a 14 tooth in. It's been fine since then. When I first got it, I also put a 70 kg servo in it. Let's go up RC one, which is just a rebranded Yippin servo. And I was doing kind of basher stuff, honestly, with it. And I was doing like a flip off of a rock. I'll place it here if I can find the video. And it landed right on, I think it was this tire, and instantly stripped the gears. I go up RC ended up replacing it for me. So I ended up, in the meantime, I put a 60 kilogram servo in, which it's from Flash Hobby, and it's been fine. But you know, might as well throw in the 70. And I'll put this one, I think, in. Do you think I'm gonna go in my Jolly Green 6x6 since it's chassis mounted servo when I build that? Let's see here. When I got this, also the guy had extended the front and the rear links with these 4mm like male to female adapters, and I had taken them out because I wanted to shorten it up, but I kind of actually liked, originally I'd only taken the front out, but in the video I took the rear out, but I kind of actually miss the rear being a little bit longer, so I'm going to put these back in, but at the same time I'm also going to put in these TCRC bent links, just trying to get some more clearance on the back here. On my last outing, when I was testing all the other upgrades that I also put in these covers right here. Catches on everything, catches on everything, catches on everything, completely useless. I'm just going to take them off. I actually ended up putting a review on Amazon for it, and they are asking me some questions about where it's getting caught and everything. And like this catches, see, if you dip down into like a hole or a crevice and then come back out, this catches every time. It's actually pulled away since then. Catches here every time, catches here every time, catches on these a little bit. This one catches here. So this one you actually see is, you can't see it, I can, but it's bent this way from backing up and hitting something and pulling this down. It's a good idea, but they're not great. Honestly, I put it on just for kind of looks. I kind of like the silver, but they're not useful at all. I'm just taking them off. So it'll be better. Oh yeah, by the way, that happened when I was out on the trail. It broke a link at first, but well, it didn't break the link. It actually just pulled out, like the screw came loose somehow. So I just put a zip tie on it, and it held it pretty fine. But then I think I fell off a rock trying to get back, because I was almost back to my truck, and then it blew the cap off, and so it leaked all the fluid out. The spring's gone. It kind of bent it a little there. So to replace those, and that's why I bought the links too, because I was like, oh, I'll just, if I'm going to do link stuff anyways, I'll just put on some bent links. That's gross now. Since that shock's messed up, I ended up buying these LCX Racing internal spring shocks. We're going to try these out. I don't think there was any reviews at all when I bought them, so that's why I'm not even sure how well they're going to be. But figured we'll see. Try them out. So yeah, got those to replace the broken, to replace the falling off, hopefully help with some clearance in the back. Putting in the extension again, because it was pretty nice to have. Putting in that servo. When I put the ASD in the transmission area, The servo horn was a little wonky. So TCRC has this. I think they just came out with it. I haven't seen anyone with anything for the ASD little servo. You know, it has that elongated area. So I'm going to pop that in. And also, since I'm going to need a longer rear shaft again, since I cut that one to get rid of the extension, I just ended up buying some Injora stainless steel shafts to throw in. I'm also going to be swapping to a radial link receiver. There's nothing wrong with the stock transmitter receiver, but I kind of want to be able to set my endpoints a little better, and I want to be able to control the lights. So I'm going to throw this on probably my RC4 GS because there's not much on that, and I'll throw in like probably the R7FG or R6FG. I mean, just because I already have it. Yeah, I got to clean all this up. The oil is all over this wheel and tire. It's all over everything on there. That's going to be a pain. Most of this stuff is honestly pretty easy, and I think people can understand it. I mean, with the shocks, you really just take this nut off, swap that off, take the wheel off, and while you're doing the shocks and the links, you take the one bolt out. On here, it holds the shock and the link. Same in the rear. The middle section is a little annoying with there's like a set screw that goes all the way through for the inside ones. So maybe I'll record a little bit of that just so people know how to do it. I'm sure most people do, but this, I try to make stuff a little bit for beginners too. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, and yep, that's gross. All the shock oil coming out of it. I'll have to take those apart and clean them. I wanted to take these apart anyways because I had put the rupture foams inside of them because the foams that come in the landmines are hard as a rock. Solid. Like solid. Oh my god, they're so. I don't understand why you would ever put this in this tire. The ruptures foams are amazing. They're nice and soft, but they're a little too soft for these. I think it's just because of how wide they are. Maybe I'm not sure, but they collapse a lot. So I've been working on like a 3D print design for these, and I wanted to try those out. So we'll see if they fit. Now I'm taking these off. I have to take it apart anyways to clean those up. But anyways, I also wanted to pop in too and show you to take out the lower links. I see people on Facebook asking all the time how to take these out. And you have to take out these 4 screws for each one. And that is just to hold on. That's like just to hold the skid into the cage. And then inside of there, use a 1.5 millimeter hex, and there's a set screw that you pull back, and you can take the link out. I usually put this when I'm trying to put the link back in. I'll make it flush to here, and I'll see like how much I have sticking out. Like say like that, right? You want the threads to at least pull over here and be a few millimeters into the skid on this side, like right there. Because if not, you're gonna have it pulling out. Like see, this one's solid. This one actually, either I didn't put it in all the way or moved back, and it was a little loose. As you can see, the link that was apart, the ball is still there. The ball's still there, and it just somehow pulled out this way. So I don't know if it was from a fall or something, but it pulled out from the double shear on the side, and it popped out completely. I just ended up zip tying around it just to get it out of the woods. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to pop in to show that. I got all the links made up. These are titanium, so they are so light. I've never had such light links. I've never had titanium links. The rears, I just realized I forgot to put the extensions on, so I'll just take those back apart and put that back on. But I'm gonna finish up this whole front end here. Swap out the servo, get the links on, and clean up all this. Ugh, you can't really see it that well, but it's just covered. It's so gross. I didn't also realize that these came with the steering links. So I don't know. I'll swap those out too, I guess. These are a little thicker though. The stock ones seem a little beefier. But yeah, these are the covers that I put on in the last when I tried to do an episode of, but the video was horrible, so I didn't even bother. So, yep, I'll be back after that. Okay, I was getting into the ASD area to put on the new servo horn. It fits on there perfectly. Everything looks like it's gonna be great. This is the only company I think I've seen, TCRC, that makes this kind of style horn with that like elongated part to go into the end of the ASD shaft. But it goes right on, no problem, fits perfectly. There's like a little that red piece there is a separate piece. It's a washer to take the countersunk bolt. I don't know why you wouldn't just put a regular bolt, something like that, like a button head or even just a regular hex head. I don't know. I went to go take the ASD cover off. Well, dig cover in this case to put this piece on. This is it also comes with it instead of this plastic one. So, and the reason I wanted this too is because it's a little bit longer, it looked, but it's not much longer. It's about the same. Just because when I put the dig in, I designed this mount to mount the servo, because unless you buy the whole ASD kit, you don't get the servo mount. So I designed this up. It's 3D printed, and it's been fine for me because it's flexible. It actually acts as kind of like a servo saver lately, because I had the stock transmitter and receiver. One of the big reasons I want to put on the radio link is so I can adjust the endpoints for this, and to be able to turn the lights on and off and cycle through them on the truck instead of having to hit the button. To do the end piece, you take it off. Watch out, all this stuff comes right off, no problem. It actually flew off on me because I forgot about it. Take your shock pliers, put them onto here, grab it, and then you can tighten this down. I put a dab of purple Loctite on there, then a dab of purple Loctite in this bolt that holds this bushing, just so it didn't all fall apart on me later. But then, of course, when you pull this type of stuff out, actually, let me go to this camera. When you pull this out, sometimes these parts come apart. So I just figured I'd show how it goes together if anyone has any questions. So I took it out of the rear axle and put it into here. I took in this area, I believe it was, for these locking pieces, there's like a lockout. So it's just, because usually you wouldn't have the ASD stock. And I put that into the rear axle. The problem is when you do that in the rear axle, there's nothing to hold them in to the diff gears. And there's no kit for it. There's nothing. Like, people just usually fix it seems like, by putting a front axle in the rear. And I haven't actually looked into the front axle and seen what holds the ASD springs, holds the ASD locker, the non-ASD locker in. But the way that I fixed it was I took some stock, it was Endura, I think, SCX24 springs, and I put it to push the locker into it, and it's been completely fine. I drove a mountain, played up on a mountain, like drove it back down, like, and I didn't have any issue at all. It never skipped, it never broke. But before I did those springs, it actually popped out, and I was freewheeling on one side, and the other side was locked. And I haven't had a problem since. Maybe on this one, I'll open up that front diff and see what they have in there. I couldn't find anything on the drawings. It looked like there was just like a longer something here to do with the front axle that wouldn't be able to be put into the rear axle. I'm not sure. I just don't want to have to buy a whole front axle to put in the rear when I have no problem with what I'm doing. I'm not really a big rear steer guy a lot of times. I haven't really played with it a lot. I had my 6x6 with all 3 axles steering. Barely ever used it. I had a couple SCX24s that way. I had one 1/10. I don't remember. Oh, it was the SCX10 before. I made that a 6x6. That was both rear steer, 4-wheel steer. Just didn't really use it much. To put this back together, there is that little dimple there, right here, on both of the sides. This one right here and this one right here. That needs to sit, that little square there. And there's 3 of them. There's 3 little dinks there. One of them the middle one has to sit in there every time. So when you pop this out, make sure this is sitting. See, it's in place now. It won't be in a minute because I got to pop this in. But usually I put it together by kind of moving this up. You can kind of slide it into place. And then that bearing will sit in there. The bearing sit there. You got this one locked into place. Now this one you twist until it's locked into place, and you'll feel it kind of snap in. And now this is all locked in. And it's ready to put this piece back in. And again, this piece, you have to watch out because those ends are going to come apart. you go into the locker area on both of these, and this gets laid down, and you have to make sure. No, I didn't put this in at the same time. There we go. Yeah, that's in there. You also need to make sure these little pieces here go into the little. I'll show you in a second. This piece right here needs to go into this piece here, and that's what holds the spring in place on both sides here. And now this can lock back and forth because it pulls. That's how it works, pushing it back and forth, and then the spring returns it, which kind of sucks, but that's how they designed it. Is what it is. That's all together. I've already greased this the last time I was in it. The cover just goes right on top. And if you didn't have those black pieces in the valleys, you wouldn't be able to put this on. You wouldn't be able to put this on if these rings here weren't in their groove. You'll have a space all around here. You have a space more here if it's over here off, down here if these ones are off, or just all of it if it's all off. So then there's 2 bolts in the back here. And then this has just 3 regular button heads. And you'll see all the gaps are filled. And it sounds fine. Okay, this is a quick edit into that section I was just doing because I went to use it and I'm like, why is this not working correctly? I had these, when this all fell apart, these crowns were backwards. The longer section here goes towards the locking like ring thing here. Let's see if I can. No, you can't really tell, but this side is shorter than this side, like closer to the actual gear. That's so it locks it out. Because I put it all together and I'm like, why is this not locking it out? It's like freewheeling instead of locking out. Yeah, turns out I had that when this fell apart. I had those flipped. So now I make. Oh, see, it's in the wrong spot for me. You're trying to line 3 things up at once. It's just frustrating. There we go. So that one's in line, that one's in line, that one's in there. These are all together. We're gonna pop this back on. I got these crowns in their little home. Crowns in their home. Like no gaps. And I'll usually put this one in just to hold it. So it's spinning normally. Lock this over. This side's locked out, and this side's fine. And you lock this out. The rear works. Works. Front's locked out. Perfect. All right. Now when you go to put it back together, you have the 2 countersunk screws here, and then the 3 button heads here. I usually get them close and snugged up, and then I just don't want to strip out the plastic. Then you're stripping out the transmission plastic. So the only issue I'm having with this, and this is kind of why I wanted that longer one, is it kind of has to be at an angle. I can't get this any lower, because to get it lower, it's going to hit this area. But it's been working at this angle, but the reason I wanted this was A, to get rid of the flex here, and B, this is longer than the stock one was by a good 2 or 3 millimeters, and I'll feel like I'll have more contact because now there's no way this can pop out. I haven't put this file up yet because I haven't really tested it long term. I'll probably put it up though because it was working okay for me, and if it doesn't work, then it's a free file, so people can't really complain too much. I feel like. While I'm here, I'm going to swap out these. Now, last time I took these off, they were a pain. They were on there solid. It was the same case. Looks like there's a metal, there's the metal section inside. And it was like seized to it a bit. I haven't had a problem with these, but like I said, I just needed to get something to be able to lengthen the rear again. And I figured I'll put the Endura ones on. And if those aren't long enough for that rear extension, then I'll just put the front that I had in the rear. So I'll be back. You don't need to see this. It's just a set screw and everything. This is all buttoned up. I'll be swapping out this for that R6 FG, wherever I put it, and getting it back together into the truck. All right, back with the center skid all back together. I got those lengthened extension pieces there. I don't know if those drive shafts are going to be long enough. Honestly, they're not as long as the stock ones, and I don't know if Endura has the right sizes. So we'll see when it goes in. Now to put in this whole setup with the ASD on is a bit of a there's a little trick to it because you have to kind of snake it through. You can't just stock. Usually you could just kind of plop it in there, but with this you have to kind of rock it in. So you put in the ASD side first, and then slide it down in. But first I need to connect this wire for the lights. And also I had actually forgot that with the Fusion 8 you can adjust the drag brake. And that was another reason for going to the radio link. So I can adjust the drag brake with the VR knob that's on it. And then adjust the lights with one of the buttons. Yeah, so I can do drag brake on the VR knob. Of course, throttle and everything. And then I have the lights in the dig. It's just while it's out here, I might as well look at it. So I got lights are on channel 5. Yeah, channel 4 is the drag brake. So I want to, before I forget about doing this, channel 4. I just said that right. Channel 4 is drag. Wow. Yeah, channel 4 is drag brake. So I want to change that to VR. Channel 3 is the dig servo. And I want that dig, I'll probably do on D. So I'm going to do locked D. So it'll lock back and forth. No, I need it 3 position. No, I can do dig because I'm actually never going to do burn or whatever you call it, where you lock the front and do the back. I never really use that. So I'll do locked D. And that'll be this button here. And it'll dig normal, and I'll just set the endpoints to be just the middle in that. Channel 5, I'm going to do, that'll be A, which is up here, and that'll be for lights, because I don't have to change that as I go. That's just to be at the beginning. And that should be it. Okay, I just wanted to do that before I put this all in. I also want to change the endpoint for the ASD, which again is channel 3, because I know that can't throw far. So I'm going to turn that down, like 25%. I'm going to throw a battery in here, set those ASD adjustments. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, 0 for normal. And then moved over. Yeah, and now we're locked in. Okay. Normal. Locked in. And now we got dig. Oh, and we got drag. No drag brake. Drag. Perfect. Locked in. No, not locked in again. Why are we not locked in? And we're locked in. I think it's overheating. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think I had it too far on the spectrum. And the spectrum servo is overheating. Whoa. It didn't seem like it was enough before. But I think we're good now. It's about 30% there. Nope, and now it's back again. All right, I'm wondering if this thing's having an issue. You know what? I should have just done it in the first place, but I have an Endura one. All right, let's see if the lights work. I'm missing a color though. There's like skipping colors. I'll play with that later. Figure it out. For now, I think I'm gonna swap this out with an Endura servo. There's something going on with this one. That might have been from before when I had maybe when I couldn't set the endpoints. It works normal. When I go to lock it in, it does lock it in. But then it kind of like amps out, it seems. Yeah, nope, we're at 50%, and now it's solid. I think before it was just barely going. Nope, see the servo keeps moving. You know, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it how it is. I barely ever use dig as it is, but I'll play with it, and if it works, it keeps on sounding like it moves. That servo's getting hot. All right. Something's going on with that servo. So I'm just going to swap it out. Okay, and I'm back, and I figured out my problem. I'm an idiot and designed it this way for some reason. This needs to go this way. So this goes back and forth. It'll never work this way. It's just jamming up because this is going crook inside of there. I don't know what I was thinking when I designed it. I probably put these bolt holes in there thinking, yep, that's what I'm going to do for this. And then I just never 90'd this piece. But I want to get this in for the weekend. I want to, it'll kind of stink to add this in later, but I want to get this together. So I'm going to take this off for now, leave all this on, leave that there so I know those bolts are the ones, and I want to put this back together in the middle here. And then I will come back and show you where we're at with like how the links look and everything. I'm going to swap out that servo. That's an easy one. And put the steering links on. So I think at this point, I'm just going to put it together because there's not much extra. I'm just going to be swapping stock parts. So I'll be back. I got this whole thing back together. And I cannot figure out why my pinion angles were horrible. This one was like way bottom forward. Couldn't figure it out. The straights are off by just like 4 millimeters or so. And I didn't realize that. And I put them completely backwards, front and back. So the upper straights in the rear were on the lower fronts. So I had to swap them. So I just wanted to pop in and give that little bit of info just so you can see it. And this is my extension, of course. But yeah, so I'll be swapping those real quick and I'll be back. All right, I couldn't just not fix that dig servo. I ended up making a whole new mount. It's just the angle that it was at, it would work technically, but I think because the new TCRC connection is so tight, it works right over here straight on the stock one. So this actually has a little bit of play in it side to side. So it was actually working okay for me. But that new one is such a tight fit with the aluminum servo horn and the brass like spacer it has. When mine is like this, it's actually a little angled just because of the way the mount was. And so when it twisted this way, it was actually pushing on itself. And I think it ended up, the servo seems fine outside of it. As soon as I put it back in there with all this connected, the TCRC part, it like pushes over like it's going to do dig. And then it lets go after a second or two like it's overheating. I think it has like some kind of overheating thing in it so it doesn't kill itself. I don't know. So I just redesigned it. It's on the side now. Kind of like a regular dig servo setup-ish. Like on a VFD or whatever, I think. Like the Axial 3-year Amazon style. But it's been working fine. The normal. Work it over. And locked. Yep. And unlocked. That works great so far. I was actually surprised I got it first try. I had to do one hole modification for the servo hole mount. That's it, just to spread it open. I think it was like 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeter. So I got the lights on the controller. So when you do it, you have to have it so it's locked. If you have it so it's a momentary switch, it actually changes the color when you press it, and it changes the color when you let it go. So you got to make it a locked button. So locked, like C, no, lock A. So that's how I have it on this one with A. So if you have it just on regular A, it just goes, you press it, it changes color, you let go, it changes color, you press it. So every time I pressed it, it would jump a color. And I was getting annoyed. And I realized that every time you press it one way, press it another way is how it works. So and you can just cycle through all the colors. So no problem. Drag brake is on the VR knob. Turn it up, and I got drag brake. So that was another reason I wanted to go to the Radial Link because I couldn't do it on the stock one. Overall, very happy with it. 70 kgs in there again. So I will. These shocks were pretty good. When I first put them in, they seemed very stiff when I was just holding them. But I didn't really, I guess, take into account myself of how heavy this is compared to like a regular 1/10 buggy crawler, buggy truck of some sort. But they are, about half down, like half droop or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to do full droop. Like, let's see how this goes. I also put the ruptures back on. These foams just don't fit in the landmines well, and I can't stand those stiff ones that they came in. So I put these in for now. The problem is they're like deteriorating inside. Whoever had this before me must have used this in the water a lot, and these foams are kind of degrading because I bought this used. Working on some 3D printed insert stuff. Actually, I got one of the landmine ones I've been working on in here. And it's pretty good. It's not great though. There's something still a little weird about it. But we're getting there. So it's getting close. But these I gotta do separately. I might just, instead of messing with it myself, I might just buy some from Team Revolt. See if I can buy the file from them and go from there, because I don't want to keep messing and printing over and over and find out it doesn't fit. So, but I'm gonna put this back together. Just the interior and the cage on top. This is way easier to work on this than it is to take the whole bottom off. I realized I didn't think it was this easy. It's 4 screws for this. Servo doesn't fit. Didn't think of the servo for the body. Oh, it's just the bottom. I don't care about that though. I'm gonna trim it a little bit, make it work, and we'll go from there. And I'll put it all back together, and then I'll go test it on the rocks and let you know how it goes. All right, and back from doing some testing. As you can see, it's apart again. This truck, no matter what I do to it, I feel like something always happens to it. The first time I put this servo in, this is the second one of this, it fell, doing a flip, and it broke some teeth. And I was like, all right, my fault. Shouldn't have done that. I think it looked like it landed directly on this tire and pushed it over, broke some teeth. This time, I wasn't even doing anything hard. The footage you just saw was from before anything happened, and that was going pretty easy on stuff. Nothing crazy, nothing big, no big falls. With this one, I went to literally just drive it, and all of a sudden my transmitter said RX power low, and then I saw a literal smoke just pouring out of this servo. Everything else works fine. And this servo, weirdly enough, let me turn it on. It kind of tries to move. I can't turn it. I can move this evenly, and then when I try to get it to center, now it's locked in. Like it's trying to keep it center. You can hear it. You can hear it trying to wind to keep it center, but it won't turn. So something on the board must have smoked, but the pot's still trying to keep it centered. a rebranded for Go Up RC from Yippin Servo, which supposedly is a semi-decent brand from what I hear, but apparently not great. So I'm going to put the 60 kg from Flash Hobby back in that I didn't have any issue with before. I literally just changed it out just because it was a little stronger. I feel like anytime I do anything with this, it just has issues. And honestly, performance-wise, I haven't been able to do anything crazier than I can with my 10th scale stuff. A lot of the stuff you just saw on the video, my 10th scale trucks do no problem. You know what's funny is I just realized that I never put... I must have backed out because I can see the scratches. That's weird. That double clamper, though, must do pretty good. I was going to change this out for maybe this Injora horn. It's a little bit longer. I feel like I need a little bit more throw. It's 2 or 3 millimeters longer. And the same with this red one. So I'm going to put the red one on. I'd rather it would have a clamper one on instead of just this. I mean, I know this one's like steel compared to aluminum. So yeah, this one, whatever reason, I don't know. It's just issues all around. I probably won't get another one again. I don't see anything broken on the wires. Even if there was, I think it would arc out and not even be able to do the centering. But yeah, something definitely smoked out on this. And oh yeah, I can smell it. Not good. I went to go take this apart, and I actually just realized, look at that. That's melted and popped through. I couldn't even get this cover off, so it must be melted to the board maybe. I actually broke the corner trying to do it. So yeah, she's a goner. Yeah, do not recommend this Yippin Servo GX 3270 BLS that is from Go Up RC. The 60 kg from Flash Hobby that I had, that's 8.4 volts, and this is only 7.4 volts. And it's supposed to be 70 kg, so obviously that was a little questionable as it was, but still, do not recommend. I ended up the first time, the videos that you guys just saw right after that on the way back, not even, luckily not that far from the SUV, I snapped this drive shaft. Thought I kept it to show you. But anyway, I snapped it right where the E-clip is that everyone else snaps it at. I hadn't snapped it yet. I was still on the landmines too. Not on these. These are just tried recently. Well, actually, when I went to go when that blew, I was trying these out to see how they were on it. I've had these sitting around. Oh yeah, anyways, it snapped that one. But 3-wheel drive, I was able to just drive it the rest of the way. I ended up buying the Vitavon front axle shafts. Definitely didn't want to, like $70, but they get rid of that E-clip and they're thicker. I think I took a picture. I'll put it up here of the broken one, and then of the new one, and then where it broke, somewhere around there. Easy swap out. Well, it could be easier without that stupid E-clip, but you just take out the knuckle, the 2 screws here. This can just slide to the side, and it's just like a square. Kind of like this. This is for a Capra, but it's kind of like just the square end there. Goes in, so you can just slide that off to the side. Then you take off all the screws around this area for the C-hub. Take that off. And then these here, pretty much any screw in this area here, you got to take off. And then it slides out, and it slides out the little metal tube. And then you can see the E-clip and then the broken piece in there. And I just kind of flopped on its side, and it fell out. You could use a magnet in there if you needed to. And then you just slide the new one in, no E-clip, don't need it. And then you put it all back together. This side's almost the same way, but you have to take out all the metal tube in here too. So you got to take out a little bit more into this area. But those are all swapped out. It took probably 10 minutes or something, I think. I did also, while I was in there, check to see what retains the lockers, kind of like where I put in the lockers from the transmission. I put into the rear because I move the ASD. The drive shafts are what hold it in. They're just longer, like a longer neck that goes up to it, and it holds it in place. Whereas here, there's a space in between there's a space between the shaft and the lockout piece. So I got to try to mimic that somehow. I'm not sure. I gotta take this back apart and see. I mean, I'll have a video of me digging into that whole situation. As of right now, I have, like I was saying before, I just have SCX24 like springs from a shock pushing it over, and it hasn't fallen out yet. And that's me going up and down a couple mountains and trails and around my house doing stuff, and I haven't had any issue. So it's working. It's kind of temporary. Onto the shocks. They were okay. I just felt like they were oversprung. The spring was just always kind of riding high. So I actually ended up taking them apart, and I think it was 60 or 80 weight in there. I can't remember. I took them apart. I actually ended up putting in Traxxas 2669 3-hole, the 3-hole piston that's in this kit, into all 4 of these shocks. The only problem is the inner bore of this is like the size of that piston, and actually it might be a little smaller, because when I put it in there, it was so tight it wouldn't move. Like I push it down and it got stuck. I pull it up and it got stuck. It wouldn't do this. So I took my sander and I just ran this as I twisted the piston and made it like, maybe a quarter millimeter smaller or so. And now it's in there nice and smooth. I also put 40 weight in since it's smaller holes, and it is way smoother now. When I took those apart too, I also, since it was too oversprung with those harder springs, I took these springs, like the stock shocks from the Arctos and from the Rock Van, and like I think it was just those two. And I put one on this side of the piston and one on the other side of the piston. So the piston was in the middle, and so it was like a half droopish type of thing, to try to keep it down, but also not do full droop, because I did try full droop at first and it was horrible. I don't know how people do it. I mean, maybe it's just because they spring it differently or whatever, but the skid was like 10 millimeters lower than the front, and that was without the extension, and then with the extension, and it didn't matter. But it didn't really work that well. I think the front, I still have it in right now because it was heavy enough where it kind of kept it with these, but the rear was just, it still wasn't right. So I put the spring for these back in, but then it sat like a monster truck. And so then I ended up putting the stock shock spring in here, and that's been better. So it sits about there usually when I'm riding around. When I'm sitting here, it just does that. But when I'm driving around, it actually stays right about there. It's been pretty even. Also, I don't understand. It's like, I think 135 millimeters and 145 millimeter shocks. That's how they go. When it's like that, the rear end is always way lower than the front when it's like completely collapsed. And then I extended it, the 10 millimeters or whatever it is, 15 millimeters, I can't remember, to give me a little bit more stability going uphill. And it was even lower because you're angling the shock down, shortening the shock downwards, and it was even worse, I felt like. And I ended up taking, I had some brass standoffs that I bought for another thing, and I put these, I think it was the M3x20, the 20s, on the bottom of this shock to extend it. Because I did notice that Vitavon, I think it is, sells, instead of a 145, it's a 155 to the back. Yeah, at the 20 mil. So this now made this 165, but it's angled more because of the extension. And now when this is fully down like this, it is like the skid's pretty flat. Before, it was the skid is pointing down, which is a complete opposite of what you want. I don't know. I don't get it. So that has helped a good amount too. I don't know. That's not going to be the final thing. I really don't want brass here because I think that if it falls, brass is way more susceptible to break. So I'm going to have to get some M3 adapters, kind of like I have on the links in the back to extend it. I'm thinking about that 20 mils. It seems really good. The other thing I did was I cleaned up the wiring a lot in here. I added a light bar here. I just zip tied it for now, but I'm going to make some little mounts to go on here. This is 120 millimeter, I believe it is, light bar. It's like perfect width for right here. And then when this is on, it's not all in there right now, but it just sits perfectly on there. And then on the back here, I put in, I think it's just like a 45 millimeter light bar. And that's more just for some night driving, some night crawling, or dusk, to do that. And those are on my switches on here. So the front one in the front light, front switch, and then the back one's on the rear switch. And then I think I showed it in the last one, but I made it so SWA does the underlight And then also stock, they put this light here facing weirdly forward, like a sort of headlight, but it's not. So I actually ended up moving it. You just unclamp it, and I put it here. So it's kind of like this rear one where it shines down in here. So again, for some maybe some night driving, some stuff like that, just to even it out. I have that light. I have this light. I'm also going to be putting some lights here, kind of like maybe like their headlights, because then nothing will hit it. Even that, not even close. I'm thinking about doing the Mias like honeycomb looking ones, which I had here. I don't know where I put them. Maybe I left them upstairs. I don't know where I put the lights. I'm thinking about putting those two in there, and then the other two maybe in the back here, so it shines out. Because right now this right here gets covered, obviously, just like on a stock vehicle. The hood kind of kills the light here. So I'm thinking if I do this here, it'll go up there, and then this is kind of like the floodlight going out. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. The dig servo has been fine. I showed that little bit of video of it doing a turning circle, and then I did a little bit of showing the speed of the truck in general. Oh, I did end up putting the stock gearing back in the back to try to help climbing. I just something about this, it does not climb well right now, and I think it's something maybe. I'm guessing it's something I did, but I don't know. Even when I got it, it wasn't great. It was on the ruptures, which they were pretty good, but the foams are all deteriorated in there. This one's actually not bad, but that there's like a dead spot there. Like the foam's completely deteriorated, and you can see in the hole. Well, you can't because it's too small, but there's like 4 millimeters of space right there. This, yeah, same thing here. I need to figure out some 3D printed inserts for this, but the problem is, I noticed on this one, I'm just gonna glue it and see how it goes because I already have it. Oh, the lighting's not great here. Apparently, see that the beads are almost ripping off right there and right there, and then right here. And I think that's the only one of these 4 tires that are doing it. I didn't see it on the other ones. I don't know if it's the person that mounted these before me. Maybe he ripped something when he was doing it. I took these off and then put the landmines on, but I haven't put these back on again yet. The thing that's annoying me though recently is trying to make a 3D printed insert with this. Is they have like a double bead. So this goes where the normal bead would be, and then this goes on the other side of the lip. When you push these in, if it's a skinny wheel, it wants to flare out. And you also need to make sure your insert is skinnier on the barrel there than it usually would be, because usually you make it the size of the barrel. That's what I do at least. You need to make it like 3 millimeters smaller on each side, so it can compensate for that onto the barrel between where the 3D printed insert hits the barrel. So I got to play with those. First of all, I got to glue that tire, and then I got to play with those. Maybe throw them on some other. These are the only other 2.2 wheels I think I have right now. So throw them on those maybe. I do have another set. I put the landmines on another set of 2.2 wheels because I was going to try to back and forth go with these the last time when I went out today. But then I broke that servo. So the offset's not as good on these either, though. It kind of just sticks in. But just to try them out again, going back and forth. Now that I did some upgrades or possible upgrades / downgrades, who knows this thing. So yeah, I don't know if this continues to not do climbing well, which I don't understand why this isn't climbing well. I see people doing stuff all the time. Maybe I'll just make this more of a trail truck for me. I do have a capper cage and a bunch of other parts. The new Mias nylon straight axles. I wanted to make a truck almost this size, but make it from kind of scratch parts. Maybe I'll try to make that one the crawler kind of thing, like this. But there's something about this still. It's just not working right, and I don't get it. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I did swap to the by the way, I did swap to a 7-channel radio link since I added the lights. Now that whole thing is full. 7 channels is full already. So even if I wanted to add ASD to the front or the rear, I'd have to go to IMT12. Probably. Yeah, MT12 would be the only other one I have with more than 7 channels. I really want to like the truck. I just haven't gotten there yet. I think I just need to do a little bit more tweaking stuff. I think the next time I do a video on this might be when I finally just get it where I want, instead of incremental updates, and just kind of be like, yep, I figured out what I like. Here you go. This is what I did. If you're into that, then you have an idea on what to go for. Because it's just, first of all, I do need to take out these springs. I need to put these back to, I like the stock springs, but I lost one of them when I was on that trail and I broke the shock off. I didn't notice the spring went flying. Well, obviously it did. I didn't think of it at the time because the shock cap blew off. I don't want to buy a set of stock shocks just to get the springs, and I guess I can buy the spring kit Yeah. Oh, the other thing that sucked about these, they are the size inside there, so I think they're kind of sticking every so often because they're the exact size of the inside of the um, shock tube. I like the truck. I'm not. It's not where I need it to be or want it to be. So I just need to keep playing with it. The links were great. TCRC links. The only thing I don't understand why they have such a bend here. The bend is just a little too much here. There's no need for it. My portals are almost straight up and down, but this drive shaft now hangs down below this. No matter what I do, here even it's still kind of below it. And it's even more below it, up like any other time when you lift up a truck. I don't know. I also did. This is a very light truck for what it is. It's almost the same weight as some of my other 110, and I think some of my 110s are even a little heavier because it's all plastic. And the the bead lock rings in here are I think they're just a nylon, and they're from Boom Racing. I did end up finding, I think it was in Jura, but I bought some brass rings to go in here, and some brass like brake disc things to go inside. I don't know if those are even going to fit though, just to try to add some more weight in the front because yes, the front is a little heavier. I'm going to probably remove the brass diff covers too from the back. I just put them on because a 4 set was not much more than a pair of 2, and I could have them like next day when I ordered them. And the 2-pack was going to be like a week and a half out for some reason. So I might take those off, shift some of that weight forward, add the rings, if I can, the brake disc cover looking things. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just need to tweak it still and play with it. Maybe I did a little too many changes at once type of deal. But I don't know. I don't get it. I filmed the outro, conclusion, and then I forgot to talk about the drive shafts. I ended up putting a stock axial drive shaft back in here. AXI-2212. It's it's the plastic parts of the drive shaft, not the metal bits. I think that's a separate part. I had cut down the front drive shaft that was in the rear originally. Nope, this is the front one. I don't know where to put the rear one. Well, whatever. The front one that was in the rear, I had cut down because I took these extensions out. So when I went to put the extensions back in to try to help out with crawling, I bought the Endura drive shafts. Well, these things are too short. I mean, they work. This is the front one that's supposed to be the replacement, and I had it in here, and it's approximately there, right? So it goes in more. I just can't fit it in there correctly. But look how much is showing, and it technically needs to go in farther, and you only got like this much on there, which yes, technically it's okay, but the problem is with this being on the end here, there's a lot of twist all here that's happening all the time. It might be fine, honestly. With the stuff that you guys watched, it was working. It was in there. But I just didn't like that it wasn't even close to even halfway in there, really. So I ended up buying that set, the local hobby shop, and then the one that's for the rear. Yeah, the one that's technically for the rear, it's even shorter. So, and then this is the long one in the rear. It's not even. See, it just fell out. I mean, I know this is extended, but look how much extra. That's the stock one compared to the Endura one, and there's only this much. So there's only that much showing left, and so that means you're literally just at the tip, and it's falling out, and it's more play that way the farther it comes out. The thing is, too, these have a wider pinion hole than like anything else you buy for a 1/10. So you can't just buy 1/10 anything. So I do not recommend the Enduro ones at all. I couldn't even run this one on any variation of this because even if I tried to put this one in the front, it was already out. I can't even get this all the way. There we go. That means it was that much. If I was going to try to run the rear and the front, kind of thing, because it's shorter. Don't even bother with these. I mean, they semi kind of work, but not really. that's good for it. But yeah, don't worry about those. Also, with these shocks, it came with an O-ring for the bleeder. The O-ring just kept popping out every time I tried to tighten it, so I ended up buying these little nylon washers. And I'll link these down below. But these work perfect. I haven't leaked out of them at all, and you can tighten it down really good. This is all, I got this all back together now, so you're gonna see this apart and then back together, and then yeah, not bad. Yeah, I think that was the last little bit. This is the stock other one. Look at this. This is the short one, right? Collapsed. And then the stock end here is like this one's longer. So that just shows how much shorter these are compared to those. It's kind of nuts. Anyways, those I already put in a return for those, so I'm just gonna return them. The stock one never broke. I only ordered that because I cut down the stock one. So, anyways, back to where we were. I think that's it for this one. Maybe suggestions that you have. Maybe you have a Gilamon and know what worked for you. I really don't like these tires on it. I just wanted to try them because I had them sitting around. These are actually going to go on the capper build, more than likely. And I really wanted to use the landmines, but these did hook up better than the landmines. I just wanted the landmines on here. And then maybe, like I said, maybe I'll go back to the ruptures if I can glue those up and get them figured out with wheels. But anyways, throw some suggestions down below. What have you done to yours that helped you, like that you liked a lot? Because I'm just kind of, this is the only truck I'm kind of struggling with. The Mantis came out amazing. I didn't have to do like anything after. I tweaked a little bit of shock tuning, and that's really it. I'm going to have an update video on that soon. It's been great. I love that truck. I don't know. Literally my 1/10 buggy with smaller LP tires. This one. This one does better than this. And look at the wheelbase difference. Well, you can't see it, but there's this much wheelbase difference, you know. Look how much smaller it is. And this thing does what this does, and that's it. Like, it can't do anything bigger or harder. I don't get, this truck is actually heavier than this truck. Yeah, I think this truck's heavier. But anyways, like I said, shoot me some suggestions down below, comments, whatever. I don't know. I'm still playing with it. The servo braking didn't really help, but I need to get this video out, and I was kind of done playing with it for now. It's one of those things where once you get annoyed at it, I think I need to put it to the side and maybe start one of my other builds. Really thinking about doing the SEX10 either Pro or Base Camp next. I also did get an Enduro, Element BK3 kit. And then I had the 6x6 Jolly Green to do, but I'm kind of waiting on, I just ordered a Fusion Pro. They were on sale for like less than $100 on AliExpress, so I think I might throw that into there. So I'm kind of waiting on that now. But yeah, this might just go to the side for a minute, just so I'm not so annoyed at it. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.